After my obsessive coworker fabricated an affair to break up my marriage, my wife laughed and said, "I don't care if it's true or not, I'll take everything in the divorce." So I blew up both of their lives. Sup Reddit. So my obsessed coworker sent my wife fake screenshots claiming we had an affair. Instead of confronting me, my wife pulled out our prenup and said, "I don't care if it's true. I'm taking everything." They both forgot one critical detail. I document everything. Grab something to eat and enjoy the chaos. I, 34 male, have been working at a mid-sized tech company in Austin for 6 years as an internal auditor. The job's solid, good pay, decent benefits, the usual corporate nonsense about synergy and team-building exercises. Nothing special, but it paid the bills, and then some. More than enough, actually, since I was the only one bringing home a paycheck. My wife Kendra, 32 female, and I had been married 8 years. High school sweethearts, whole romantic backstory, blah blah blah. She'd tried a few jobs early in our marriage, retail, receptionist work, some admin stuff, but never stuck with anything longer than 6 months. Always had an excuse. Boss was terrible. Coworkers were mean. The commute was too long. The work was beneath her. Eventually, she just stopped trying. Said she'd focus on building something from home. And by that, she meant starting a new money-making scheme every 6 months that never made a dime. First, it was selling essential oils. Then she got into making custom jewelry on Etsy that sat in boxes in our garage because nobody bought them. Then it was some Instagram influencer nonsense, where she'd post photos of our house and talk about lifestyle optimization to her 73 followers. Her latest thing? Drop shipping. She'd spent $3,000 of our money, my money technically, on some online course that promised she'd be making 6 figures within a year. That was 8 months ago. Total revenue to date, $247. Total expenses, north of $5,000 when you counted the course, the website, the inventory she panic bought, and all the Facebook ads that went nowhere. But Kendra was convinced this was it. This was her ticket to financial freedom. Never mind that I was the one actually providing said financial freedom, while she burned through money on schemes that any person with half a brain could see were garbage. We had a house in the suburbs, 2 cars, and a golden retriever named Boomer, who was objectively the best member of our household. On paper, we looked like we had it figured out. Over the years, things got worse. She'd max out credit cards on shopping sprees, then act shocked when the bill came, then get irritated when I suggested maybe we should save money instead. And anytime I brought up finances, like maybe she could get an actual job instead of burning money on doomed business ventures, she'd hit me with the "you just don't want me to be happy" routine. Here's the thing though, when we got married, my grandparents had just passed and left me a decent inheritance. Nothing crazy, but enough that my parents suggested we get a prenup. Kendra wasn't thrilled about it, but we were young and in love, so she signed. The terms were simple. Anything I came into the marriage with stayed mine. Anything we built together got split 50-50. Standard stuff. There was one clause, though, that turned out to be crucial. If either party committed adultery, they forfeited their claim to marital assets. My mom insisted on it. Said she'd seen too many friends get screwed over by cheating spouses who still walked away with half. Kendra had rolled her eyes at the time, said it was unnecessary because we'd never cheat on each other. Then Renee showed up. She joined our development team about 4 months ago as a project manager. Early 30s, reasonably competent at her job, but had this weird vibe from day one. She was overly friendly in that way that immediately puts you on edge. Always finding excuses to stop by my desk, laughing way too hard at jokes that weren't remotely funny, asking personal questions that had nothing to do with work. First week, she asked me where I went to college. Fine, normal small talk. Second week, she asked me where I grew up, if I had siblings, what my hobbies were. Getting a bit personal, but whatever. By week 3, she was asking me about my workout routine, what kind of music I listened to, what my favorite restaurants were. The real red flag came about a month in. I was working late on a deadline, maybe 7 at night, and Renee was still there. She came over to my desk with 2 sodas from the break room fridge and said, "Thought you could use this." Long day, right? I took the drink because I didn't want to be rude, but I kept working. She pulled up a chair and just sat there, sipping her soda, watching me work on audit spreadsheets. Didn't say anything for a solid 5 minutes. Just watched me. Finally, she goes, "You're really focused when you work. It's attractive." I laughed it off like she was joking, made some comment about deadlines being a good motivator, and went back to my screen. She sat there for another 10 minutes before finally leaving. That's when I knew this was going to be a problem. Over the next 2 months, Renee ramped up the weirdness. She started calling herself my work wife. Not as a joke, like in actual meetings with actual clients. She'd say things like, "Oh, let me check with my work husband about that timeline," and gesture at me while I'm sitting there wondering if HR had a protocol for this level of cringe. She'd bring me coffee every morning. I don't even drink coffee. When I finally stopped accepting it, she switched to bringing me pastries from the bakery near her apartment. She started finding reasons to touch me, hand on my shoulder during meetings, brushing past me in the hallway when there was plenty of room. One time, she accidentally dropped a pen under the conference table during a meeting, and while picking it up, put her hand on my thigh for like 3 full seconds. I moved my chair away. She smiled like I'd just passed some test. The texts started around 6 weeks after she joined. Work stuff at first, quick questions about projects, asking for feedback on documents, normal project manager stuff. But then it shifted. Late night texts asking what I was doing. Messages on weekends asking if I wanted to grab coffee or go for a hike. One time she sent me a photo of her at some bar downtown with the caption, "Wish you were here." I kept my responses short and professional. "Busy. Can't. Got plans." "That's nice. Have fun." I wasn't trying to be mean, just maintaining basic boundaries. But Renee didn't operate on the concept of boundaries. I mentioned it to Kendra once, maybe 2 months into Renee's employment. Tried to laugh it off like, "This project manager at work keeps doing this weird work wife thing. It's kind of awkward." Kendra barely looked up from her phone where she was scrolling through drop-shipping Facebook groups. "Sounds like she has a crush. Just ignore her." So I did, which in hindsight was probably mistake number 1. Around 2 months in, I started keeping records. Not because I'm paranoid, but because when something seems off, you document it. Plus, I'd heard enough horror stories about false harassment claims to know that without documentation, you're done for. Tech industry's full of stories about guys who got accused of something they didn't do and had zero proof to defend themselves. Companies fire first and ask questions never, especially if there's even a whiff of impropriety. I wasn't trying to build a case against Renee. I was trying to protect my job. If she decided to flip the script and accuse me of harassing her, I needed proof that I'd been the one setting boundaries. Simple as that. Every text message I screenshot and saved to a folder on my personal laptop. I even started keeping a voice memo journal on my phone. After particularly weird interactions, I'd sit in my car and record myself describing what happened, the exact words exchanged, who else was around. Felt excessive at the time. But you know what's more excessive? Getting fired over a false accusation because you can't prove your side of the story. By month 3, I had a file on my laptop that was basically a Renee dossier. Screenshots, time-stamped notes, voice memos, everything organized by date. I even had a separate document tracking escalation patterns, how her behavior was getting progressively more aggressive. She started asking personal questions about my marriage. "How long have you been together? Do you guys still go on dates? Are you happy?" I'd give vague answers or redirect the conversation back to work, but she was relentless. One night, about 3.5 months after Renee started, I was working late on a major audit report. Like, actually late, past 10 at night. Everyone else had gone home hours ago. I was in the zone, trying to finish before the weekend, when Renee appeared at my desk. "Burning the midnight oil?" she said, sitting on the edge of my desk. Not pulling up a chair, sitting on my actual desk, one leg dangling. "Yeah, trying to finish this before Monday," I said, not looking up from my screen. "You work too hard. Kendra doesn't appreciate you." That got my attention. I looked up. "Excuse me?" "I'm just saying," Renee continued, leaning forward slightly. "You're here at 10 at night working your butt off, and I bet she's at home watching TV or scrolling through her phone. Does she even know you're here?" "That's really none of your business," I said, trying to keep my voice level. "I'd appreciate you," she said quietly. "If you were mine, I'd never take you for granted." I stood up, grabbed my laptop, and shut her down. Hard. "Renee, I need you to understand something. This, whatever you think this is, stops now. I'm married. I'm not interested. I've tried to be polite, but you're crossing lines. This conversation is done, and from now on, we're strictly professional. That's it." Her face went from hopeful to shocked to something darker in about 3 seconds. She slid off my desk, smoothed her skirt, and her voice went ice cold. "You think you're too good for me? You think your boring wife who sits at home all day is better than someone who actually gets you? I think you need to leave," I said. "Right now." She stared at me for a long moment, then grabbed her bag and walked out. I heard her heels clicking down the hallway, then the elevator ding. I got home around 11. Kendra was asleep on the couch, iced tea glass on the coffee table, laptop open to some drop-shipping forum. I went to the bedroom, updated my Renee documentation file with tonight's incident, and went to bed thinking maybe, just maybe, that was the end of it. What I didn't know was that Renee went straight home that night and did exactly what any rational, well-adjusted person would do after getting rejected. She decided to blow up my life. The next evening, I got home from work around 6. Normal day. Wrapped up some projects. Didn't see Renee once. Figured she was avoiding me after last night's conversation. Good. That's what I wanted. Kendra was in the kitchen when I walked in. She didn't look up. Didn't say hi. Just stood there with her phone in her hand, staring at the screen. Hey, I said, setting my bag down. Everything okay? She looked up at me and I knew immediately something was very, very wrong. We need to talk, she said, setting her phone down on the counter. Never a good sign. I sat down at the kitchen table. She stayed standing, arms crossed, looking at me like I was something she was evaluating. A business transaction. I know about Renee, she finally said. My stomach dropped. Not because I'd done anything, but because I knew whatever was coming next was going to be bad. What about Renee? I asked carefully. I know you slept with her. The words just hung there. I didn't yell, didn't freak out. I just stared at her and very calmly said, That's a lie. Who told you that? Kendra picked up her phone and turned it toward me. Renee told me herself. Last night. She messaged me on Facebook around midnight. Said she couldn't live with the guilt anymore and thought I deserved to know the truth. Last night. Right after I shut her down. Renee had gone home and immediately started trying to destroy my marriage. Kendra, I have never touched Renee. I barely even talked to her. She sent me screenshots, Kendra interrupted. Text conversations between you two. Very detailed conversations about your relationship, about how you're unhappy with me, about meeting up at hotels. Those are fake, I said. Renee's been harassing me at work for 4 months. I've been documenting everything. She's making this up because I rejected her last night. Kendra's face didn't change. No emotion. Like she was watching a play she'd already seen. Show me your phone, she said. I unlocked it and handed it over. She scrolled through my messages, my call log, everything. Found nothing because there was nothing to find. But it didn't matter. You deleted them, she said flatly. I didn't delete anything because there's nothing to delete, I said, keeping my voice level. Can I see what Renee sent you? She pulled up the messages. I leaned forward and read them. A long message from Renee about how guilty she felt, how the affair had been going on for 2 months, how I'd told her I was going to leave Kendra soon. Then screenshots. Text conversations that had never happened. Messages I'd never sent. Renee had photoshopped entire conversations, complete with my contact info and realistic timestamps. This is all fabricated, I said. These conversations never happened. Renee made these. They look pretty real to me, Kendra said, pulling her phone back. Because she edited them to look real, I said. But they're fake. I can prove it. I have 4 months of documentation showing Renee harassing me. I don't care. I stopped. What? Kendra leaned back against the counter, and for the first time, I saw something in her face that I'd never seen before. Not hurt, not anger, satisfaction. I don't care if it's true or not, she said slowly, like she was savoring the words. What I care about is that I have proof. Screenshots, messages, timestamps, detailed accounts of your affair. The way she said proof made my blood run cold. Kendra, I pulled out our prenup this afternoon, she continued, her voice getting more confident. Read through it real carefully. There's an adultery clause. If I can prove you cheated, I get everything we've built together. You forfeit your claim to marital assets. There it was. She wasn't devastated. She wasn't hurt. She'd spent the entire day since Renee's message figuring out how to profit from it. You saw an opportunity, I said slowly, the pieces clicking into place. Renee sends you fake screenshots, and instead of talking to me, instead of giving me a chance to explain, you immediately went to see how you could cash in. Thank goodness, she said, and there was actual relief in her voice. Finally, I don't have to pretend anymore. Do you know how exhausting it's been? Sitting around this boring house, playing the supportive wife while you work late every night, listening to you lecture me about budgets and savings while I'm trying to build something? The mask was completely off. 8 years of marriage. And I was seeing my wife for the first time. I've been looking for an out, she continued, gaining momentum. Kept thinking maybe one of my business ideas would work, and I could leave on my own terms. But this crazy woman just handed me everything I wanted on a silver platter. I don't even care if you actually slept with her. I have the screenshots. That's all I need. So let me get this straight, I said, my voice deadly calm. You're using fake evidence from a woman who's been harassing me to trigger the prenup clause so you can take everything we built. Not everything, she corrected, and she actually smiled. Everything we accumulated during the marriage. The house equity, the joint savings, your 401k contributions from the last 8 years. All of it. The prenup is crystal clear. Adultery means you forfeit marital assets. And you think a judge is just going to believe this? I think a judge is going to see detailed messages from your coworker describing your affair. And unless you can definitively prove it didn't happen, which you can't, because how do you prove a negative? The prenup clause kicks in. She picked up her water glass. I already called an attorney today. He said I have a solid case. Of course she did. While I was at work, she'd been researching, planning, getting legal advice. The moment Renee's message landed in her inbox, Kendra saw dollar signs. You're unbelievable, I said. I'm smart, she replied. You made good money. I got to enjoy it for 8 years. Now I get to walk away with half of what you've accumulated, and you can go be someone else's problem. She started to walk toward the living room, then turned back. One more thing. Don't fight this. Just accept it, and we can have a clean divorce. You fight me, and I'll make it as ugly as possible. I'll drag Renee into court to testify. I'll make sure everyone at your company knows. I'll ruin you. Or you can just sign the papers when they come. Your choice. Then she went to watch TV like she'd just negotiated a great price on a car. I sat at that table for maybe 5 minutes. Boomer came over and put his head on my lap. My hands weren't shaking. My mind wasn't racing. I was completely, utterly calm. Because I had 4 months of documentation on Renee. I had proof of every single inappropriate thing she'd done. And I was willing to bet money that Renee's midnight message to Kendra, Kendra's consultation with an attorney today, all of it, there'd be a trail. Because people like this always think they're smarter than they are. If Kendra wanted to play games, fine. But she'd picked the wrong guy to mess with. I didn't say a word to her for the rest of the night. Just went to the bedroom, opened my laptop, and started working. Here's the thing about being an internal auditor who's actually good at his job. I understand how systems work. Financial systems, data systems, security protocols, and phones. About a year ago, Kendra got a new iPhone. She asked me to set it up for her, transfer her photos, link her apps, the usual stuff. While I was doing it, I also set up our family sharing account through iCloud. We used it for shared photos, app purchases, location sharing, all that domestic couple stuff. She never changed the settings, which meant her iCloud backup was still synced to the shared account, which meant I could access her messages, photos, everything from my laptop. I know, it sounds shady, but you know what's shadier? Trying to steal half my assets using fake evidence without even pretending to care if it was true. That night, after Kendra went to bed, I pulled up her iCloud messages on my laptop, started scrolling, and holy cow, what I found. Renee's message had come in at 11:47 p.m. the previous night, less than 2 hours after I shut her down at the office. The timestamp told the whole story. I rejected her. She went home, and she immediately tried to destroy my marriage. The message was long, detailed, all fake, but convincing if you didn't know better. How the affair had started innocently. How we'd tried to fight it but couldn't resist. How I'd told her I was unhappy and thinking about leaving. Then came the screenshots. Text conversations that had never happened. Messages I'd never sent. Renee had spent probably hours photoshopping fake exchanges, complete with my contact info and realistic timestamps. Some of them even included message reactions and read receipts. She'd put serious work into this. Kendra's initial response came at 7:23 a.m. She must have seen it first thing in the morning. Is this real? Are you seriously telling me my husband is cheating on me? Renee, I'm so sorry. I know this is awful to hear, but I couldn't keep lying to you. You deserve to know the truth. Kendra, I need to think about this. Then nothing for 3 hours. But here's where it got interesting. At 10:47 a.m., Kendra started a text conversation with her best friend Lena. Lena, holy cow, you're not going to believe what just happened. What? This woman from my husband's work just messaged me saying they've been sleeping together. Sent me screenshots of their conversations. OMG, are you okay? And here's where Kendra showed exactly who she was. I don't even know if I care. I just pulled out our prenup. There's an adultery clause. If I can prove he cheated, I get everything from the marriage. The house equity, the savings, his 401k, all of it. Wait, you're not even upset? Lena, I've been dying in this marriage for years. He's boring as heck, works all the time, and I'm stuck at home trying to make businesses work with no money. This is literally my ticket out, and I get paid. This might be the best thing that could have happened. So you don't even care if he actually did it? Not even a little bit. I have screenshots from his coworker. That's proof enough. I'm calling that attorney my cousin recommended as soon as they open. There it was, in writing. She didn't care about the truth. She saw an opportunity the moment Renee's message hit her phone and immediately started calculating how to profit from it. The conversation continued. Kendra laying out her strategy, how she'd confront me but not reveal she'd already consulted an attorney, how the screenshots were probably enough to trigger the adultery clause, how I'd have a nearly impossible time proving the affair didn't happen. Lena asked, but what if he can prove it didn't happen? What if he has proof? Kendra, how? Even if he didn't do it, he can't prove he didn't. That's the beauty of this. I have detailed screenshots. He has, what? Saying I didn't do it? No judge is going to dismiss this without concrete proof it's fake. And that psycho coworker seems crazy enough she'd probably testify if we needed her to. She'd spent the entire day planning how to rob me using fake evidence. And she was excited about it. I kept scrolling, found more messages. Her calculating how much she'd walk away with, north of 200 grand when you factored in the house equity, savings, and my 401k contributions. Her already looking at apartments she could afford. Her telling Lena she was finally going to be free from this stupid man. Then I found the messages between Kendra and Renee from this afternoon, after our confrontation. Kendra, he knows. I told him tonight. Renee, what did he say? Kendra, denied it, obviously. Said you made it all up, that he's been documenting you harassing him. Renee, of course he'd say that. Men always deny it. Kendra, doesn't matter. I have your screenshots. That's all I need for the prenup clause. My attorney says it's basically a done deal. Renee, I'm glad I could help you see who he really is. You deserve so much better. Kendra, thank you for telling me. I know it must have been hard. They were coordinating. Not explicitly. Renee probably genuinely believed she was helping Kendra escape a cheater. But Kendra was using Renee's delusion to commit fraud, and she knew exactly what she was doing. Two completely delusional women. Lucky me. I took screen recordings of everything. Kendra's messages with Lena planning the shakedown, her text with Renee coordinating the story, the timeline showing she'd consulted an attorney before even talking to me. All of it. I had everything ready to destroy both of them legally. They had no idea what was about to hit them. I set my alarm for 5 a.m. Tomorrow morning, I was walking into HR. And this time, I wasn't asking for help. I was bringing receipts. I woke up at 5. Kendra was still asleep when I left at 6:30. Good. Got to the office at 7 a.m. Building was mostly empty, just security and a few early birds. I went straight to my desk and pulled up my complete Renee file. 4 months of documentation. Every text, every voice memo, every time-stamped note. Added last night's confrontation and the aftermath. Made sure everything was organized chronologically and indexed. Then I printed it all. Took 30 minutes and probably killed a small forest. But I wanted physical copies. 2 complete sets. One for HR, one for my attorney. At 7:45, I walked up to the executive floor. Our senior HR director usually got in around 7:30. Her office light was on. I knocked. Firm. Professional. Come in, she called. She looked up from her computer, clearly not expecting anyone this early. Oh, hello. Is everything all right? No, I said calmly. We have a serious workplace situation that needs immediate attention. Do you have time right now? The phrase serious workplace situation works like magic on HR people. She immediately closed her laptop and gestured to the chairs. Of course. Sit down. What's going on? I sat, placed my folder on her desk, and laid it out. Not frantically. Not emotionally. Like I was presenting an audit report. Because that's exactly what this was. I've been experiencing workplace harassment from a project manager named Renee for the past 4 months. I've documented everything. The harassment escalated 2 nights ago when she made inappropriate advances during a late-night work session. I rejected her explicitly and told her to maintain professional boundaries. Less than 2 hours later, she sent fabricated screenshots to my wife claiming we were having an affair. My wife is now filing for divorce based on these fake allegations. I have documentation of everything, including proof the screenshots were manufactured. Her expression went from confused to alarmed. That's a lot. Can you walk me through it from the beginning? I opened the folder. Walking her through it was exactly like an audit presentation. Started with the first incident 4 months ago. The escalating behavior. The night I rejected her. Her retaliation by creating fake evidence and sending it to Kendra. She was taking notes. And you're saying she fabricated evidence after you rejected her? Photoshopped text messages that never existed. I can prove conclusively that no affair occurred. But she sent them to my wife anyway as retaliation. This isn't just workplace harassment anymore. This is a coordinated attack using company relationships to destroy my personal life. She closed her notebook. I need to bring our legal counsel and the head of HR into this. This is beyond my scope. Can you be available later today? I'll make myself available whenever you need me. Good. I'll call you when we're ready. In the meantime, keep your distance from Renee. Don't engage if she tries to contact you. Already planning on it. I went back to my desk and actually worked. Because that's what you do. You execute your job while other people execute theirs. At 2:30, she called. Conference room. Head of HR, legal counsel, the VP of operations. I presented everything. 4 months of documentation. Renee's escalating behavior. The fake screenshots. Kendra's messages proving she knew they were potentially fake, but didn't care. We've reviewed your documentation, the head of HR said when I finished. We need to conduct a formal investigation. Renee's on administrative leave pending the outcome. We'll need several days. The legal counsel added, our investigation focuses on workplace conduct. We can't speak to matters outside that scope. Translation, don't expect us to fight your divorce battle. Fine. I hadn't planned on it. Thursday afternoon, investigation complete. Same conference room. Renee's employment has been terminated for inappropriate workplace conduct, the head of HR said. We're providing this letter confirming we investigated and found no evidence to support allegations of an improper relationship. I read the letter. Dry corporate speak. Following investigation, the company found no evidence to substantiate claims of an improper relationship. Investigation found evidence of policy violations by the employee in question, resulting in termination. Not dramatic, just enough to prove HR didn't buy her story. I left the building and drove straight to a law firm downtown. The attorney had a reputation for being ruthless. Doesn't lose. I walked in with 2 folders. Renee documentation plus HR letter. Kendra's messages with Lena planning the shakedown. The attorney reviewed it for 30 minutes. Your wife's trying to invoke a prenup clause based on fabricated evidence, he finally said. She admitted in writing she doesn't care if the affair happened. She just wants the payout. That's fraud. How soon can we file? Early next week. Divorce petition. Countersuit for emotional distress. Dismiss her prenup claim based on bad faith. Request she pays your legal fees. Do it. Filed Tuesday. Everything attached. Kendra's messages, Renee's fake screenshots, HR letter, my 4 months of harassment documentation. Kendra got served Thursday. Called me 19 times. I didn't answer once. Finally sent a text. Talk to my attorney. All communication goes through them now. She tried calling 12 more times that day. Then her attorney must have told her to stop because the calls ended. The settlement took 6 weeks. Her attorney shut down any fight once he saw the evidence. The messages with Lena were the nail in the coffin. Proof she'd seen a potential fraud opportunity and immediately pursued it without caring about the truth. Her attorney tried arguing the iCloud access was invasion of privacy. Mine pointed out she'd never changed the family sharing settings in a year, and that accessing shared family accounts isn't illegal when you're still legally married. Judge agreed. I kept everything I came into the marriage with. Marital assets got split fault-based. Judge wasn't charitable when someone tries to commit prenup fraud. I got the house. Both cars. Boomer. The savings account. My full 401k intact. She got her personal 401k, $12,000, and her personal belongings. The $23,000 in credit card debt she'd racked up, court made it her sole responsibility. Her drop-shipping inventory sitting in boxes. All hers. Her Etsy supplies? Hers. Her essential oils collection? Also hers. Judge noted in the ruling that attempting to invoke prenup clauses through fabricated evidence constituted bad faith and warranted the imbalanced settlement. Renee's implosion took longer, but was just as thorough. Getting fired for harassment kills careers in a tight-knit industry like ours. Austin's tech scene is small. Word travels fast. She tried getting another project management job. Applied to at least 15 companies according to a mutual connection. Nobody would touch her. After 8 months of failures, she left Texas entirely. Moved back to Ohio. Deleted all social media. An old coworker said she's working retail now. Didn't ask for details. Didn't care. 2 months after the settlement, Kendra texted asking when she could pick up her remaining stuff. I told her Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock. Be in and out in 30 minutes or I'm donating everything to Goodwill. I was on the couch with Boomer watching college football when the doorbell rang at 1:58. Punctual for once in her life. I opened the door and there she was, looking rough around the edges. Hair not done, no makeup, wearing sweats that had definitely seen better days. Hey, she said quietly. Not the confident Kendra from the kitchen confrontation. This was defeated Kendra. The one who just spent 6 weeks getting demolished in court. You've got 30 minutes, I said, stepping aside. Your stuff's in the garage. Boxes are labeled. She walked past me without making eye contact, started heading toward the garage. Then the doorbell rang again. I opened it. Renee, standing on my front porch, in a sundress, hair curled, full makeup, holding a casserole dish. Hi, she said with this insane, hopeful smile. I heard about the divorce finalizing. I thought maybe we could talk. I brought lasagna. I just stared at her. You've got to be kidding me. I know things got messy, she continued like I hadn't spoken. But now that you're single, I thought maybe we could start fresh. I never stopped caring about you. Before I could respond, Kendra's voice came from behind me. Are you serious right now? Renee's smile dropped. Kendra appeared next to me in the doorway, looking at Renee like she'd just discovered dog mess on her shoe. What the heck are you doing here? Kendra demanded. I'm here to see him, Renee said, straightening up. Not that it's any of your business anymore. You're divorced. Because of your fake screenshots. You psychotic witch? They weren't fake, Renee shot back. We had something real. You just refused to see it. I held up a hand. Okay, let me clarify something real quick. We had nothing. You harassed me for 4 months. I rejected you. You tried to destroy my life. Then you got fired. Now you're standing on my porch with lasagna thinking we're gonna what? Start dating? Are you actually insane? Renee's face crumpled, but she pushed forward. You don't understand. I did it because I love you. I was trying to save you from her. Kendra laughed, sharp and mean. You love him? You don't even know him. You know what you are? A crazy person who cost me $200,000. I cost you? Renee's voice went shrill. You were trying to rob him using my information. You didn't even care if it was true. You just wanted his money. And you wanted him so bad, you were willing to blow up his entire life to get him. Kendra fired back. At least I'm honest about being a gold digger. You're delusional. They were squaring up now, both of them on my porch. Renee still holding her stupid casserole dish. I would have treated him right, Renee said. I would have appreciated him, not sat around spending his money on failed businesses. You would have driven him insane within a month, Kendra snapped. You're a stalker. He rejected you and you couldn't handle it. He rejected you. The court rejected you. You lost everything. Because of your fake screenshots, you psycho... Renee threw the casserole, just hurled the entire dish at Kendra. It hit her square in the chest. Lasagna exploded everywhere, red sauce and cheese sliding down Kendra's sweatshirt. Kendra screamed and lunged, full tackle. They both went down on my porch in a pile of broken ceramic and pasta. I stepped back inside and closed the screen door. Let them fight it out. Pulled my phone and dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? Yeah, hi. I've got 2 women brawling on my front porch. My ex-wife and the coworker who got her divorced. Need someone to come separate them before they kill each other. Through the screen, I watched Kendra get Renee in a headlock. Renee was trying to scratch her face. They were rolling around in lasagna. It was honestly impressive how much damage they were doing to each other. Are you just gonna stand there? Kendra shrieked at me, still wrestling Renee. Yep, I said calmly. Police are on their way. I love you, Renee yelled, trying to pull Kendra's hair while simultaneously being choked. We could be happy together. No, we couldn't, I called back. You're banned from my property. That's called trespassing. Kendra managed to pin Renee down. You ruined my life. Your life was already ruined, Renee shot back, bucking her off. They were still fighting when the squad car pulled up 3 minutes later. 2 officers. Both looked tired. Sir, are these 2 women bothering you? The first officer asked. That's my ex-wife, I pointed at Kendra, who was now sitting on Renee's back. She was here to pick up her stuff. That's my former coworker. She showed up uninvited with lasagna and declarations of love. They started fighting on my porch. The officers separated them, both women covered in tomato sauce and grass stains. The second officer was taking statements. He's my husband, Kendra was saying. Ex-husband, Renee corrected. Can we just, the first officer said, looking exhausted, can we just get you both to leave the property peacefully? I'm not leaving without my stuff, Kendra said. Ma'am, you threw hands on his porch, the officer said. You can arrange another pickup time. Oh, what about her? Kendra pointed at Renee. Ma'am, he turned to Renee. Do you have any legitimate reason to be here? Renee looked at me, still hopeful somehow. I thought we could talk. We can't, I said flatly. Leave my property. Don't come back. Her face finally cracked. Started crying. The officer walked her to her car. Kendra got escorted to hers. Gave me one last look through the window. Not angry anymore. Just empty. Both cars pulled away. Officers took my statement, checked that I didn't want to press charges, and left. I went inside. Boomer was waiting by the door. Women are exhausting, buddy, I told him, scratching his ears. He wagged his tail. Only creature in this whole mess with any sense. I grabbed a soda, sat back down, and turned the game back on. Final score. Me 1, Chaos 0. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.